A $20,000 machine just destroyed a $3 million armored vehicle. No pilot, no warning, no second chance. Welcome to the new face of war. And it doesn't look like anything Hollywood ever showed you. For decades, military dominance meant stealth jets, aircraft carriers, and billion-dollar missile systems. The country with the most expensive hardware won. That was the rule. Today, that rule is being rewritten in real time, above the fields of Ukraine. And the authors are two very different drones. One Turkish, one Iranian. One built to be a precision scalpel, the other built to be a disposable hammer. Today, we break down the Bayraktar TB2 and the Shahed 136. What they are, how they fight, and why together they've forced every military on Earth to rethink everything. In the early days of the Russia-Ukraine war, something unexpected happened. A Turkish-made drone became a cultural icon. Soldiers sang songs about it. T-shirts were printed. The Bayraktar TB2 was plastered across billboards like a war hero, and for a while it earned that status. Built by the Turkish company Baykar, the TB2 is what engineers call a male drone. Medium altitude, long endurance. It has a 12-meter wingspan, weighs 650 kilograms at takeoff, and can carry 140 kilograms of laser-guided munitions across 4 hardpoints. Its operational range sits at around 150 kilometers from its ground control station, and it can loiter over a target area for up to 27 hours. The price tag? Roughly $1 million per unit. What made the TB2 revolutionary wasn't just the hardware, it was the concept. For the first time, a relatively affordable, non-superpower drone was performing precision strikes that previously required fast jets and experienced pilots. In the 2020 Nagorno-Karabakh conflict, Azerbaijani TB2s dismantled Armenian armor with almost clinical efficiency. The footage, drone camera, crosshairs, explosion, went viral across the world. In Ukraine's early months, the TB2 hunted Russian logistics columns, artillery positions, and air defense systems. It was fast enough to survive, smart enough to aim, and cheap enough to risk. But the battlefield adapted. Russia deployed better air defense. The TB2 began taking losses, and that's when Russia introduced its own answer. Something far cheaper, far simpler, and in many ways far more dangerous. The Shahed 136 is not trying to impress you. It won't survive its mission. It isn't supposed to. Built by Iran's Hessa Corporation, the Shahed 136, which Russia rebranded as the Jiran 2, is a loitering munition, more commonly known as a kamikaze drone. It's 3.5 meters long, has a 2.5 meter wingspan, and carries a 40-kilogram warhead in its nose. It flies at around 185 kilometers per hour, slow by any aviation standard, and is powered by a small 50-horsepower engine that produces a distinctive buzzing sound survivors describe as unforgettable. It doesn't need a runway. It launches from a simple ramp mounted on a truck bed. It doesn't need a pilot, a communications link, or even real-time guidance. It is programmed with GPS coordinates before launch and flies to its target autonomously. There is no human in the loop once it leaves the ramp. But here is the dark reality behind that simplicity, and it needs to be said clearly. The Shahed is not a precision weapon. It never was. Its original Iranian GPS guidance system was notoriously unreliable, and even after Russian engineers upgraded it with a GLONASS unit, the drone remains fundamentally a blunt instrument pointed at a general area, not a specific target. When Ukraine's electronic warfare systems jam the satellite signal mid-flight, the drone doesn't abort the mission. It simply loses its bearings and crashes wherever its momentum takes it. That could be a power substation, or it could be a 10-story apartment block at 3 in the morning. And the numbers are not abstract. In January 2025, debris from a downed Shahed struck a residential building in Kyiv Oblast, killing a man inside his own home. In the same attack, another drone destroyed a private house, killing a married couple in their 60s. 150 residents were evacuated from a burning apartment block in the middle of the night. In Kharkiv, overnight, Shahed waves have left civilians, nurses, police officers, ordinary workers, bleeding in the streets. In January 2026, a Shahed operator spotted a bus carrying miners who had just survived a strike, watched them help each other out of the wreckage, and directed a second drone straight into the crowd. This is not collateral damage in the traditional military sense. This is a weapon system so imprecise that residential neighborhoods, schools, and civilian infrastructure are not exceptions to its targeting. They are its reality. Russia launches over 1,000 Shaheds per week. It does not need all of them to hit the right target. It only needs enough of them to land somewhere, to make sure no Ukrainian city sleeps through the night, to keep the fear constant, and to make the cost of simply existing in Ukraine unbearable. Messin. That is not a military strategy. That is terror with a GPS chip glued to it. The cost? Approximately $20,000 per unit. That number is everything. For the price of a single Bayraktar TB2, you can buy 50 Shaheds. For the price of one F-35, you can buy 4,000 of them. This isn't just a cost difference. It's a strategic revolution. Russia began launching Shaheds in mass waves, sometimes 30, sometimes 80 at once, targeting Ukrainian power infrastructure, substations, heating plants, and city centers. The goal wasn't always to destroy every target. The goal was to overwhelm. Ukrainian air defenses, however capable, cannot intercept every drone in a swarm without exhausting expensive missiles. A Patriot interceptor costs roughly $3 to $4 million. Shooting one at a $20,000 drone is mathematically unsustainable. The Shahed had found the crack in the armor of modern air defense, not by being better, but by being cheaper and more numerous than the defense itself. What makes the Bayraktar versus Shahed story so fascinating is that these two drones represent completely opposite philosophies, and both are winning in different ways. The Bayraktar is a precision tool. It is designed to find a specific target, confirm its identity, and destroy it with minimal collateral damage. It requires trained operators, ground infrastructure, and active communication links. It is vulnerable to electronic jamming and modern air defense. It is expensive enough that losing one matters. In return, it offers something priceless: eyes in the sky and the ability to strike targets with surgical accuracy. The Shahed is an attrition weapon. It is designed not to be precise, but to be relentless. It doesn't care about electronic jamming the way a remotely piloted vehicle does. It doesn't need a runway or a sophisticated operator. It is expendable by design. A military can lose 100 Shaheds and barely feel the cost. A civilian population, on the other hand, cannot sustain 100 strikes on its power grid without breaking. These two approaches reveal the two directions modern drone warfare has split into: precision versus mass, quality versus quantity, the scalpel versus the swarm. Part 4. Let's address the question directly. Why is a $20,000 drone competitive with a $100 million fighter jet? The answer comes down to 4 factors. First, cost asymmetry. A single F-35 costs between $80 and $100 million to purchase, plus roughly $44,000 per flight hour to operate. A Shahed costs $20,000 total. For the cost of intercepting one Shahed with a standard air defense missile, you could build another 150 Shaheds. The math is brutal. Second, no pilot risk. A drone can be sent into heavily defended airspace, where sending a human pilot would be politically or militarily unacceptable. There are no funerals, no POW negotiations, no psychological cost of losing a trained aviator. Third, saturation. Modern air defense systems were designed to track and intercept a limited number of high-speed threats. A swarm of 50 slow, low-flying drones launched simultaneously from different directions creates a targeting problem that no current defense system handles perfectly. Some will always get through. Fourth, accessibility. The components inside a Shahed or a commercial FPV drone are largely available on the global market. A sophisticated air force requires decades of industrial infrastructure to build. A drone program can be stood up in months. This doesn't mean fighter jets are obsolete. Against peer adversaries with sophisticated air defenses, stealth capabilities, and electronic warfare, drones remain highly vulnerable. But in asymmetric conflicts, in wars of attrition, and against civilian infrastructure, the cheap drone has proven devastatingly effective. Part 5. What the future looks like. Russia has evolved from scattered drone use into a fully institutionalized UAV doctrine, with FPV drone kill chains that can go from target identification to strike in under 10 minutes. Ukraine has responded by building its own massive domestic drone production industry, launching long-range strikes deep into Russian territory with domestically produced systems. Every military on Earth is now asking the same questions. How do we defend against drone swarms? How do we integrate cheap drones with expensive conventional platforms? What does air superiority even mean when your enemy can launch $1,500 drones from a pickup truck? The answers are coming. Active protection systems, AI-driven detection networks, directed energy weapons, and electronic warfare suites are all being developed at speed. But the fundamental shift has already happened. Closing. The Bayraktar became a symbol of precision and defiance. The Shahed became a symbol of cold, industrial attrition, and of something uglier still. A weapon deliberately designed to terrorize the people it cannot accurately target. Neither is the future alone. The future is both, and everything in between. Swarms and snipers, mass and precision, the $20,000 kamikaze and the $1 million hunter. War has always found a way to use what technology offers, and right now, technology is offering something no general in history ever had: the ability to strike anywhere, at any time, without risking a single human life on your side. The question isn't whether drones have changed war. They already have. The question is, are we ready for what comes next?